Okay folks, gather round. Today we're talking about AMD, the chip designer that keeps crashing the party, stealing snacks from Intel's plate, and now flirting with its kitchen. Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, recently turned heads with two big storylines that, when combined, look like a plot twist out of a tech soap opera: an expanded AI partnership with Coherent to run Cohere's models on AMD's Instinct GPU infrastructure, and reports that AMD may be in early talks to have some chips made at Intel's foundries. A move that would represent a strategic shift away from longtime contract manufacturer TSMC. Markets noticed. AMD's shares spiked after the news. What happened? AMD and Coherent expanded their collaboration so Coherent customers can run Cohere's Command A series, plus North, on AMD Instinct GPU-powered infrastructure, positioning AMD as a more serious player in enterprise and sovereign AI deployments. Separately, multiple outlets reported Intel and AMD are in early talks about AMD using Intel Foundry services for some production, a move that would be a meaningful pivot from Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company, TSMC, for at least part of AMD's portfolio. The market reacted. AMD shares rose on the combined headlines. Various outlets pegged the rally around a roughly 3 to 4% intraday bump tied to the news. Why the Coherent deal matters. Imagine AMD's Instinct GPUs as a fleet of rental trucks built for hauling AI models. Coherent, a company that makes large language models and enterprise AI stacks, deciding to run its models on AMD's trucks is the business equivalent of a popular logistics company choosing a new carrier because the trucks are cheaper or better suited for certain routes. It signals trust, that Coherent thinks AMD's hardware is good enough for serious enterprise and government workloads, not just academic bench tests or hobbyist rigs. Coherent's Command A models and North are their serious enterprise offerings. Think customer support answer engines, on-premise assistance for banks, or translation stacks for governments. Allowing them to run directly on AMD's Instinct GPUs opens doors to customers who want Coherent's models but prefer or require different hardware backers for reasons of sovereignty, procurement policy, or performance cost trade-offs. Intel and AMD, making chips together? Here's the eyebrow raiser. Intel historically competes head-to-head with AMD in CPUs and has been selling its own chips for decades. The idea of AMD sending some chip production to Intel's foundries is like Nike asking Adidas to stitch a few pairs of sneakers. Strange, but not impossible if the price, politics, or capacity makes sense. Multiple reputable outlets reported early discussions between Intel and AMD about Intel Foundry Services potentially manufacturing chips for AMD. Details are fuzzy and the talks are described as preliminary, but the significance is clear. Any deal would mark a partial diversification away from TSMC and would provide Intel with a massive credibility boost for its foundry ambitions, and give AMD another supply option amid global capacity pressures and geopolitics. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. What it means for the stock. Markets love optionality. The combination of an AI partnership, revenue pathway, plus potential manufacturing flexibility, supply chain optionality, gives investors reasons to re-rate AMD's risk-reward profile. That's why the stock jumped in reaction to these headlines. About a 3.6% intraday/pre-market pop was reported by several outlets. Short version: new customers for GPUs plus reduced single supplier manufacturing risk equals cheers on the tape. The gamer factor: AMD's Steam gains. AMD's not only pushing into data centers, it's also continuing to win in consumer land. According to Steam's latest hardware and software survey, AMD's share among Steam users jumped past 41%, meaning more than 4 in 10 active PC gamers reported using AMD processors. In the gaming world, where performance and price matter a lot, that's a big deal. It translates into healthy demand for AMD CPUs, and a stronger consumer ecosystem for AM4/AM5 motherboards, Ryzen upgrades, and ecosystem lock-ins. Think of Coherent as a gourmet food truck that needs powerful generators to run its equipment. AMD's Instinct GPUs are the beefy, fuel-efficient generators. When Coherent wheels into a government compound and plugs into AMD's generator, the gourmet truck can cook expensive dishes without worrying about the lights going out. Customers happy, truck happy, governor less hangry. The Sneaker Factory, Foundry Talk. AMD uses TSMC like a designer uses a boutique factory in Taiwan. Talking to Intel is like sending a production run to a big new factory in Ohio. More local, politically friendly, perhaps a bit different in finish, but useful when demand spikes or when supply chains get shaky. The Steam Party. If Steam users were a festival, AMD just got front row seats. Imagine the crowd starting to chant, Ryzen! Ryzen! And more merch stalls selling Ryzen hats. That's more ecosystem cash flow and more developer incentive to optimize games for AMD's silicon. How this changes the competitive landscape. NVIDIA remains the dominant name in AI accelerators, especially with its full-stack software and ecosystem. But AMD's moves, pushing Instinct GPUs into enterprise stacks and marrying with model vendors like Coherent, begin to chip away at the idea that only NVIDIA is the one-stop shop. Customers care about performance and choice, especially in sovereign and regulated environments. AMD offering a competitive GPU option plus a pipeline of enterprise deals makes the market more interesting and is symbolically 5,000x. If AMD were to actually use Intel foundries, the geopolitical calculus shifts further. US-based manufacturing could be attractive to customers sensitive to supply chain origin, export controls, or wanting friendshoring of critical tech. That could accelerate adoption in specific markets. But it's early days and nothing is signed. Note this as well. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, Who then can be saved? But Jesus beheld them, and said unto them, With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all, and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Jesus said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Matthew 19:25-30. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.